What's good, guys? It's your boy Demarcus J, and today we're back with another Best Ball Mania draft here on Underdog. And yes, I'm coming to you as the draft is just starting here in about 15 seconds. But today we actually have gotten into a draft with Fantasy Flock. If you guys don't know who Fantasy Flock is, he is one of the biggest fantasy football YouTubers around. Great content. He actually won two of these Underdog Best Ball tournaments last year. I think he ended up winning over $150,000. But this was a draft that I actually was doing on my free time here. I was not going to record it. I was just getting to a draft here for fun. But once I saw we were in with Fantasy Flock, I had to start recording. So that's why the video was a little bit later than usual. And this was about 2 days ago now, I think, for when we're getting this uploaded. So if you guys do go look at his most recent live streams, you will also see us in there. Like I said, I do believe this was about 2 days ago on Sunday. But without further ado, guys, we're already in the draft. Flock is picking at pick number 9. And then we are picking at pick number 12 here. So that will be interesting. And I also went back, looked in at the live stream. I do think we had about 3 or 4 other guys that were watching Flock's live stream as well. So we are in with a lot of his guys. So this be an interesting draft. Like I said, I just thought it was pretty cool to hop in with him and a few of his subscribers. As you guys see, he actually goes Travis Kelce at pick number 9. Travis Kelce, he either goes in the top 4 or 5 picks, or you sometimes see him drop to like the pick number 9 or 10. Which, if he does drop to pick number 9 or 10, I would go ahead and get him at that point. But anything before that, I'm not really interested in getting Travis Kelce. I do think the gap between him and tight end number 2 would not be as large as it was in previous seasons. I do go ahead and go Bijan Robinson with my pick number 12. I always say Bijan Robinson makes it to me at the turn right here. I am going to take him. And then I was also looking at maybe getting a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown. Of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown goes 1 pick ahead. So I think I go, I'll just go ahead and go Garrett Wilson. If it was Amon-Ra St. Brown right there, I'd probably go Bijan with Amon-Ra. I don't have a lot of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I just think his ceiling, especially in the Detroit offense, I do see him as Finch as a top 5 receiver. I do think that's in the realm of possibilities. I can see him finishing above Garrett Wilson. Like I said, and when I have did my latest projection, I have been drafting Garrett Wilson ahead of Amon-Ra. But now I'm kind of at the point where I want to get some Amon-Ra St. Brown value as well, because I do think he can literally just come out here and smash each and every week. Davante Adams, he still has some question marks up in a bad offense. Don't really know who the quarterback is going to be, so I do pass on him. I do have a lot of Davante Adams right now, because whenever he does drop here in the second round, I'm usually quick to pick him up. After Garrett Wilson, Davante Adams there, we do get Tony Pollard pretty early off the board. Early as I've seen Tony Pollard go in a while, and he goes to the Austin Eckler team. Then you have Jalen Waddle going to that fantasy Flock team there at 9. So he does get him a elite tight end, elite wide receiver off the board. Jonathan Taylor off the board next to the CeeDee Lamb team. Chris Olave off to the team at 7 with A.J. Brown. Stephon Diggs team, they go ahead and pick up Nick Chubb at pick number 19. And then you have the Tyreek Hill team go Devonta Smith. Christian McCaffrey team goes Pat Mahomes. Saquon Barkley off the board. I definitely, if Saquon ever makes it to me at pick number 22, that would be a auto draft for me. The farther Saquon falls, the more Saquon I would have. I was a big fan when he was going at the 1-2 turn, but now that he's going at the middle of the second, 2-3 turn, I'll probably have way more Saquon Barkley here. After Saquon, you got Josh Jacobs, T. Higgins off the board. Derrick Henry, Ramondre Stevenson to start the third round. And then it's pretty interesting as Josh Allen goes off the board to a team without Stephon Diggs. Right here, I just started looking at what else we're going to be doing here. We have one wide receiver, one running back. So I'm looking at maybe doing ETN and a wide receiver here. Not really interested in Gibbs or Najee. And team before us goes with Calvin Ridley. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get ETN. And do have a few different ideas here. I could go Drake London and pair him with Bijan Robinson. And then that is what I decided to do. So I'm pairing him with Bijan Robinson in hopes that this Atlanta offense is going to be a little bit better than people are assuming. They're in a bad division, and I don't think it's out the realm of possibilities that we see Atlanta win their division. So I am going to go ahead go in with that idea in mind. And when you're drafting, you want to make sure you have an idea on how you can see your team finish at first. If you're looking and you don't really see any outcome, you see a lot of your players performing near or below their ADP, you're most likely not going to win at $3 million. And so just thinking about things like stacks and why you take some players, you always just got to make sure you see a track on how you could finish number one overall. And like I said, if we have Atlanta as a top 12 offense, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if it did happen, this team will probably be in pretty good shape, considering 2 of our top 4 picks are on the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to go back to the beginning of the third round there. After Josh Allen goes to the team at 3 with Cooper Kupp, Saquon. I like what they're doing there. It is interesting that I would have definitely went Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen. Jalen Hurts is my QB1. But like I said, Josh Allen might be their QB1, so they do go ahead and go there. But that's a pretty good build off the top. Then Patrick Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey team go Mark Andrews. So elite running back, elite quarterback, elite tight end so far. Jalen Hurts, Amari Cooper, DK Metcalf, Lamar Jackson, Breece Hall to Flock's team, Keenan Allen, Calvin Ridley, and Travis Etienne picked by us to finish that third round. Actually pretty interesting. Team number 10 there. They have both Austin Eckler as well as Keenan Allen. So it does look like they are preparing for that Justin Herbert stack for that Chargers offense. To begin round 4, we go Drake London, passing on guys like Christian Watson, Jerry Jeudy, Deebo Samuel, Najee Harris. Just pairing with Bijan there. After we get Drake, there go Najee Harris, Deebo Samuel, Christian Watson. Jerry Jeudy, Terry McLaurin, Jahmyr Gibbs, DeAndre Hopkins, Kenneth Walker, Mike Williams, DJ Moore, Joe Burrow, TJ Hawkinson, Justin Fields, Christian Kirk, Chris Godwin, followed by Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, Brandon Ayuk, J.K. Dobbins. Now we have Flock on the board, and we're going to see what he decides to do with his 5th round selection here. Only thing so far that's really, only team so far that's really going on. And actually, Fantasy Flock goes with Justin Herbert there, stealing him from the Eckler. Yeah, stealing him from the Eckler and Keenan Allen owner. So I know they are probably pretty pissed off right now. But I cannot blame him. He took Justin Herbert few picks after ADP. He probably was the best value at the board. And if Justin Herbert would have made it to us, we would have been taking him as well. So here I am going to go ahead and go Hollywood Brown for sure. I don't really want Madison, Miles Sanders. Neither one of those guys are really in play for me. I could have went George Kittle there. But I do go ahead and I get Trevor Lawrence. And I'm pairing him with Travis Etienne. This is something I think I talked about in our last video, where you get the QB and the running back of that team. And if you're in a high-level offense, you basically have all the touchdown production from your quarterback throwing the touchdowns, and from any rushing touchdowns your running back should have, as long as it doesn't go to whoever the second running back is there. But like I said, I do like doing this stack because, like I said, it does give you full control of a team's offense. And then we can look at getting Evan Ingram or even Zay Jones a little bit later to give us more stack options with Trevor Lawrence. A few interesting things here. You see DeAndre Hopkins go at pick number 44 to the Tyreek Hill team. DeAndre Hopkins, I've got him a few times here around 5. And if Hopkins makes it to me in round 5, I'm just going to take him every time. If Hopkins does turn out to be washed up and not very good at football anymore, which I don't think is the case, we probably will be in a lot of trouble here, because I do have a lot of DeAndre Hopkins, especially the further he drops in these drafts, kind of like Saquon. I am still taking him a lot. I do think that's a player who still can be a wide receiver 1 any given week, especially if he's in the right offense. After Flock went Justin Herbert, Deontay Johnson, JSN go off the board there. We go Hollywood, Trevor Lawrence at the turn, followed by George Kittle, which is a guy we thought about for our 6th round pick, but I'm not high on any of the San Fran guys, really, except McCaffrey. Everybody else, I do believe they can give you spike weeks, but I don't think in that offense, none of those guys are going to be a consistent in fantasy. After that, you get Alexander Madison, Miles Sanders, Michael Pittman, Dameon Pierce. Then we get a run on wide receivers, Mike Evans, Treylon Burks, Tyler Lockett, Gabe Davis, George Pickens, and Cam Akers. Cam Akers has been the guy you've been seeing go up these drafts a tad bit. I believe I just drafted recently my first stakes of Cam Akers. It does just look like he's in a total smash spot. Only thing I would be worried about is the offense there with the LA Rams. If the Rams have a poor offense like last year, not sure what his weekly ceiling could be. Of course, he could have those humongous weeks like he did at the end of the season. But if that offense is bad, I would be scared for Cam Akers. But I do think his offense is just going to improve from what we saw last season. Jordan Addison to the Justin Jefferson owner as well. So they do have Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, and Jordan Addison there. So that will be something interesting to look out for as well. So what I'm going to be doing here is David Montgomery was going to be a for sure selection. And of course, David Montgomery and Isaiah Pacheco both get snatched up the 2 picks ahead of us. So I was going to get either one of those guys and then maybe a wide receiver here in this range. Don't usually go for wide receivers here. I have found myself drafting a little bit more Brandon Cooks. I have a lot of James Conner, so I didn't really want James Conner. And I do think I kind of like what I have going with my running back room. So I do go ahead and go Brandon Cooks. I do think he's going to be the wide receiver too in Dallas. So that's a pretty good offense there. I do hate, I would much rather take Pacheco or David Montgomery over Rachaad White. Now, if one of those guys and Rachaad White would have made it to me, I would have maybe thought about taking 2 of the 3. But Rachaad White was definitely my 3rd guy on that list. But I am happy to have him to bolster up my exposure. I do think Rachaad White is in a pretty good predicament as of right now. They don't have any other really running back competition. And this team is probably going to be coming from behind a lot. And with him being that premier pass-catching running back, I do think Rachaad White is in a very good spot for fantasy this season. But back to what I was saying about team number 1, they do have T.J. Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson. So they do have the Minnesota stack. So I'm sure they're going to try to get Kirk Cousins a little bit later on. After Jordan Addison, you see Jahan Dotson, Kyle Pitts, Kadarius Toney, DeAndre Swift, Deshaun Watson, Dallas Goedert, Darren Waller, Quentin Johnston. Okay, and that is to Flock. I was going to say, I'm sure Flock is going to try to get him to pair with Justin Herbert, and that's exactly what he does. Then we get that run on running backs, Montgomery, Pacheco, Rachaad White. Then I go ahead and get Brandon Cooks. I did take Brandon Cooks over Zay Flowers here just to give me a wide receiver 2 in a dynamic offense over what could possibly be a wide receiver 3 in our Trevor Lawrence-led offense. And I did think there was a possibility that we could see Zay Jones making it back to us in round number 9 here. After our Cooks pick, we have James Conner. Then we have Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers off the board there. Brandon Cooks. I'm sorry, I said Brandon Cooks. I mean Dalvin Cook to Flock's team as well. Then you see Bateman, James Cook, Elijah Moore, Javonte Williams. Big news on Javonte Williams where he's saying he is going to be ready to go at the beginning of the season. So I guess we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. And then we have Zach Charbonnet off the board. To the Ken Walker owner as well. So they do get the full backfield there in Seattle, which is a pretty smart choice, I would say. Whenever you get one of those wide receivers with question marks, if you can get a late round or backup or something like that, I believe that's great value. After Zach Charbonnet, you see Michael Thomas off the board, Cortland Sutton, Antonio Gibson, and that team does go ahead and get Kirk Cousins there. Pat Freiermuth, A.J. Dillon, Jameson Williams, Tua. I honestly probably would have waited for Kirk Cousins and see if he would have made it back to me in round 10. It's just I have seen Kirk Cousins fall well past his ADP multiple times before. But I guess once you get those 3 guys to stack with Minnesota, you're kind of all in at that point and you want to be for sure that you get them. But when you can have guys like Tua and Dak still on the board, I would assume teams take those 2 guys before Kirk Cousins. So I probably would have just tried to wait a little bit longer and see if I could get Kirk Cousins in the 10th round. I probably would have tried to get me another running back or maybe even my second tight end there, go Willie tight end strategy. After Tua, you see Njoku, Evan Ingram go, which was a bummer because I was going to get Evan Ingram here at this turn. Anthony Richardson off the board. They're taking a shot with Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara has been the guy that I have not been getting much of recently. Dak Prescott, Allen Lazard. So I do go ahead and star Samaje Perine. If this time, I cannot remember if this was the day that the news came out where Javonte said he was going to be playing, or he expects himself to be playing there at the beginning of the season. So hopefully this pick did not come back to bite us. Because I do go ahead and get Samaje and Zay Jones here. So I do get my other stack with Trevor Lawrence. Best case scenario here would have been getting Evan Ingram and Zay Jones. But like I said, that team did go ahead and go Evan Ingram earlier. I'm not too sure why. Let me see what their options, and do they have any other players for the Jacksonville Jaguars? I don't believe they did. Alright, and so yeah, guys, so the team that took Evan Ingram away from us at pick 103, there's actually a team that took Dallas Goedert at pick 79, and they do not have any current Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm not sure there's not going to be anything else they're really able to do. But they have a unstacked Dallas Goedert, unstacked Evan Ingram. So that team is very strange. They're at number, and it's pick number 7 there, who got our Evan Ingram. And they did start out with 5 wide receivers straight off the board: A.J. Brown, Olave, DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, Brandon Ayuk. So like I said, I guess they just wanted to go ahead and get a bully tight end strategy going there, and they got the second best tight end, or the best tight end available there. After we get Samaje and Zay Jones, you see Geno Smith, Daniel Jones, Tyler Boyd, Sky Moore, Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson has been absolutely falling as Antonio Gibson has been absolutely rising. I don't really have I would, of course, much rather have Antonio Gibson over Brian Robinson. But if you're getting Brian Robinson a whole 2 rounds after Antonio Gibson, I think they're basically at a coin flip now, and it's just kind of who would you rather. I don't have a lot of Brian Robinson at this point, but like I said, if he does continue to drop to the 10th, late 10th round, and when you're getting Antonio Gibson in the 8th round, I believe Brian Robinson is going to start being the guy that we should be taking shots on, especially seeing last year. Brian Robinson was not efficient at all. Of course, he was coming back from the gunshot injury, so that could have affected some of his athleticism and mobility. But if they're going to continue to give him the workload, even though if he's not efficient, or if he is or is not efficient, like I said, I think that's a guy you kind of got to pencil in. After Brian Robinson, you see Odell, Romeo Doubs, Jacoby Myers. Here we go ahead and get ready for our picks. I'm really thinking about going dual tight end here, where I just get whatever 2 tight ends make it back to me. I'm going to get the highest of the 2. That's most likely going to be what I do here. As long as Chig is one of them, I think I would rather him be my tight end 1. I do not want Kincaid to be my tight end 1. But getting Kincaid here in these underdog drafts as a tight end 2, I do think he will provide a lot of upside for you. But any team, like I said, I'm not really looking forward to having Dalton Kincaid as my tight end 1. And we see Darnell Mooney, Aaron Rodgers, Michael Gallup, Greg Dulcich, and then Jared Goff. So yeah, this is pretty easy for us. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Chig Okongwu here, Tennessee, second year tight end. And then I did think about I've been getting a lot more Van Jefferson. That's another guy who's been going up these draft boards like crazy. This was a guy I was getting in, I think maybe the 16th round at one point. 15th, 16th round earlier in the year. Like you see there, I do go ahead and go Dalton Kincaid. Like I said, I really did think about Van Jefferson there. Because especially when you're getting him this late, I could actually get Van Jefferson and Higbee, and I could pair them with Stafford. And that's a stack you're able to make after round 10. After the quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff are off the board. And call me crazy, but I just don't think there's that big of a gap between Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford. Especially as far as fantasy points is concerned. I do think they're pretty similar and probably going to finish in a similar range. So I would take Matthew Stafford 3 rounds after. And if you're ever able to get them with a Van Jefferson and Higbee stack, I do think that's a pretty valuable stack. So you get basically second and third best pass catches behind Cooper Kupp. So Cooper Kupp does go down like for injury or something like he did last season. I think that team has league winning potential. Of course, as long as Stafford doesn't go down for you as well. But we're gonna go back up to round 10. In the round 10, after Jacoby Myers, you have Rashad Penny, Khalil Herbert, Juju Smith-Schuster, Damian Harris, Jamal Williams, Devon Achane, Elijah Mitchell, Nico Collins, Jerick McKinnon, Darnell Mooney, Michael Gallup, Aaron Rodgers, Greg Dulcich, Jared Goff. Of course, we go 2 tight ends there. Then to begin the 12th round, we see Jaylen Warren, Adam Thielen, Rondale Moore, Kendre Miller, Derek Carr. Derek Carr is another one where you can get those late round stacks. And Rashid Shaheed, the wide receiver, who could possibly be the wide receiver too, depending on the health, of course, of Michael Thomas. And then you can also get their tight ends, Juwan Johnson, as well as if you want to throw Taysom Hill in there as well. Because I do think he's still going to be that kind of touchdown vulture guy there in New Orleans. So that'll be something, if you were to get like an Alvin Kamara or something like that, I would still have that in the back of my head as well. I completely stopped taking Alvin Kamara at this point. I took him a lot when I first started drafting on Underdog here. So I do have enough Alvin Kamara where I think I would be okay if he was to, have a comeback season or top 20 running back finish, something like that. I do think I would be covered. But just where he's going now, I think there are a ton of other guys like A.J. Dillon, Khalil Herbert, man, even Rashad Penny, Damian Harris. I'd probably rather have all those guys over Alvin Kamara at this point until we get a little bit more news. And then, okay, so to begin this next round here, or in the middle of this round after Derek Carr, you see Higbee go, you see Dalton Schultz, Russell Wilson, Van Jefferson, Cole Kmet, Rashee Rice, to finish out that round. And we are still only going to round 14, at least on camera. Of course, I will come back at the end. I will show you both my team and the team that Flock Fantasy has drafted here today. But still, I just don't want these videos to be anything outrageously long here. So I started looking at a few more wide receiver values. I am very content with my running back room. So I am looking at wide receivers, backup QB, of course. And then I will finish off with another running back at some point. Maybe I can throw in a guy like Ezekiel Elliott later on. But right here, I do go ahead. I'm going to go Jordan Love in Jaden Reed. to get a Green Bay stack here as well. And Jayden Reed is a guy I've talked about as well. He's getting first team reps already. And I think this is a pretty open wide receiver room. I do believe we can see this guy probably finish as high as the wide receiver too. And I don't think it will be quite out of this world. Say Christian Watson, he dealt with injuries last year. Say he gets an injury this year. I'm not a big guy, a big Dobbs guy. So I do really like getting those two paired up here for another stack. So after we see Fantasy Flocks pick here, we are going to go ahead, cut out. And then, like I said, guys, we are going to come back after round 18 concludes. And then I will just show you my roster as well as Fantasy Flocks roster there. And you can kind of come up with your own opinions there. And they do go Gerald Everett there to pair up with Justin Herbert. So, guys, just give us a minute. I will be right back. All right, guys, we are back. And this is the end of the draft here. As you can see, you guys last saw me pick Jayden Reed. After that, I was able to get Chuba Hubbard. And I actually did go with another quarterback in Kyler Murray here at 181. I was able to get him well beyond his ADP. So I did go ahead and pick him up. I do think he will have late season upside. I don't think he misses the whole season, but it is a possibility. I do go Nathaniel Dale and Chase Brown here. So this is kind of Texas. Houston have a wide open wide receiver room as well as Chase Brown. Then you can also see Fantasy Flocks last 4 picks: Paris Campbell, Bryce Young, McCole Hardman, Pierre Strong. All right, and this is our team. I do think this is pretty good coming from 12th place. Was able to get Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, Kyler Murray. I do love those quarterbacks there. I do think we will have a lot of upside. And hopefully we can get Kyler Murray back before our Trevor Lawrence Week 9 bye. That would be amazing, but maybe very unlikely. And then our running backs, we do have both Bijan, Travis Etienne, Rashad White, Samadi P. Ryan, Chuba Hubbard, Chase Brown. I'm absolutely love this running back room. I'm very high on Bijan, and I'm very high on Travis Etienne as well. And I think guys like Rashad White can also give us great flex potential every week. As well as in the wide receiver room, we do go Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Marquise Brown, Brandon Cooks, Zay Jones, Jayden Reed, Nathaniel Dale. I do think we have 3 good wide receivers here. And that's the other reason I went with Kyler Murray as well, pairing him up with Hollywood Brown, hopefully for that latter part of the season there. And then we have Chigo Conwell and Dalton Kincaid are my 2 tight end selections and my only 2 tight end selections here. I will go ahead, go to the full draft board and let you guys see Fantasy Flocks team as well here. Well, they do have Herbert. They do Aaron Rodgers, Bryce Young, Breece Hall, Miles Sanders, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Pierre Strong, Jalen Waddle, Christian Watson, Quentin Johnston, Tyler Boyd, Rondale Moore, Jonathan Mingo, Paris Campbell, McCole Hardman. Then you get Travis Kelce and Gerald Everett. I actually think this is a pretty solid team. Wide receiver room has a few question marks in it. Overall, I think it's a pretty solid team. However, our team here, I do believe, is a little bit better. Maybe a little bias in, right there. But I do think we have a very solid team here. On the scale of, if I'm rating this team, I'll probably give it a B-. Like I said, I do think this has a ability to be a top 4 team in the league. Kind of just got to hope everything plays out, how you're kind of thinking about it. And hopefully we see Kyler Murray early this season. Hopefully about midway through, maybe around weeks 8 or 9. Like I said, I would love to have him back for that Trevor Lawrence bye week. Other than that, guys, that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe for more content, and see you guys next time.